Sky conditions, clouds, few to scattered, 010. Surface winds, 275 at 6 knots. How copy?
Jackie, we don't remember if the number is 06 or 08 for you, but we copy all on the entry pad.
I copy all. And with that, it's a good entry pad, and we can continue in the procedure.
Integrity. Houston integrity, although we've already confirmed it per procedure. Instruction 115 of entry checklist. SM separation ATP is go.
Houston copies.
Christina and Jeremy are fully zipped and they're working on EBS and then seating up. Houston integrity, although we've already confirmed it per procedure. Instruction.
We copy. Thanks for the status.
ATP is go.
Estamos ao vivo, pessoal. Estamos ao vivo, pessoal. Alô, alô. Conseguem me ouvir aí, pessoal? Estamos ao vivo, pessoal. Estamos ao vivo, pessoal.
Este é o seu ponto crítico. Este é o seu ponto crítico.
Fala, pessoal, gente bonita. Estamos aí diretamente da NASA. Acompanhando aí o retorno da missão Artemis II. Hoje é o grande dia que retorna a cápsula Orion. Salve, meus amigos, como é que vocês estão? Vocês estão bom? Salve, meus amigos, como é que vocês alô aí no chat para ver se tá tudo beleza. Você que tá acompanhando aí o retorno da missão Artemis II. Hoje previsto o retorno aí para 21 horas e 7 minutos. A galera deve estar apreensiva. É hoje, 10 de abril de 2026. Tá perto, hein? Tá perto. A previsão aí é de entrar em aproximadamente 40 mil quilômetros por hora na atmosfera da Terra, hein? Vai chegar numa temperatura aí 2.700 graus. Chama a galera para assistir, gente. Momento histórico. Vai dar tudo certo aí. Essa missão aí durou praticamente aí menos de 10 dias, né? E a aterrissagem aí vai ser no Oceano Pacífico. A galera lá tá esperando ansiosamente. Não temos o áudio ainda de lá. De vez em quando eles abrem o áudio. Não teremos imagens, praticamente ela entrando, né, na tangente da Terra aí, que essa câmera aí vai ser descartada, né? Somente a cápsula com os astronautas que vai entrar, tá, pessoal?
Integrity, Starfield maneuvers initiating in a minute and a half.
Integrity.
Mais uma live aqui no canal, acompanhando os grandes fatos. O Ponto Crítico vai estar junto. Boa noite, você que está acompanhando aí diretamente o retorno da Artemis II. Você imagina aí a tensão do pessoal, né? Todo mundo preocupado com a reentrada. Fazendo todas as checagens. E a gente segue aqui acompanhando.
O foco total é a informação. Análise e debate definem o nosso trabalho. diretrizes claras para o entendimento. Este é o seu ponto crítico. Este é o seu ponto crítico.
Essas são as imagens aí ao vivo do retorno da missão Artemis. A entrada aí está prevista aí para as 9h07. Essa é uma câmera interna, né? Transmissão aí da NASA. 4 astronautas. E nós temos aí praticamente o comandante, que é o Red Wiseman. O piloto é o Victor Glover. A Cristina Koch, que é especialista de missão. E o Jeremy Hansen, que é o canadense, também especialista de missão, tá? E Artemis II não pousou na Lua. Deu aquelas voltas para identificar o lado oculto, tirar fotos, mapear, fazer experiências, né? E vai nos trazer aí muitas novidades, tá bom, gente? Quem sabe é uma próxima Artemis 3, né? Caramba! Isso aí tudo é um teste para humanos, hein, pessoal? Lembrando aí que há 50 anos não tinha uma missão dessa, né? Com humanos, né? Deixa eu ver se eu me desloco para cá, fica melhor. Agora fica bonito, né? Eu vejo vocês aí tudo daqui de cima. Você é doido, rapaz. Queria estar no lugar de vocês não, viu? Quanta checagem. Estamos acompanhando aí ao vivo o retorno da missão Artemis II. Já deixa um likezinho aí, ajuda a fortalecer o canal, pessoal. Não esqueça.
Este é o seu ponto crítico. Este é o seu ponto crítico.
É que eu vou analisando todos os testes também, né? Onde fica melhor.
Houston Integrity, we are suit on complete.
Houston, copy.
Preocupante, né? Muita tensão nessa hora. Estão fazendo as últimas checagens, né?
Se é louco, não compensa.
Dá não. Continuamos ao vivo aí com a Artemis II, com a cápsula Orion, o retorno aí para a Terra hoje. O pessoal vai ser aclamado como herói aí, né?
Houston integrity for status.
Go ahead.
Seats 3 and 4 are connecting umbilicals. We're going to be stepping into leak check soon. 1 and 2 will be seated. 3 and 4 will be free float, and we'll configure EPROC accordingly.
Houston, copies all.
De vez em quando dá uns bug aqui. E o som, como é que tá aí, pessoal? Tá tudo certo? Todo mundo me ouvindo bem? Pessoal, como é que tá aí, pessoal? Tá tudo certo? Todo mundo me ouvindo bem? Você que está ligando a live aí gravada, está assistindo depois que já acabou, você pode assistir ao vivo depois que terminar, ok? Vai ficar gravada aí para você assistir. A cápsula vai ser resgatada no Oceano Pacífico. E aí os astronautas vão passar por uma bateria de exames, né? Ver se toda a integridade corporal está ok, óssea, fazer exame médico. Provavelmente a gente vai ter aí só um aceno, alguma coisa assim, entrevista mesmo, só amanhã. Só no sábado, né? A gente faz uma cobertura aí também. Você tem a chave Pix ali, caso queira ajudar o canal, basta fazer o seu Pix e a gente agradece na próxima live também. Para você que não está vendo ao vivo, mas depois que terminou, esse é o canal Ponto Crítico, seu canal de informação. Vamos acostumar aí fazer umas lives sempre, passar os últimos momentos, casos extraordinários aí que necessitem de uma certa atenção, né? aqui, 19h52. Podia mostrar uma outra imagem de fora ainda, né? Praticamente faltando uma horinha até a reentrada da cápsula na atmosfera da Terra. Você está acompanhando ao vivo, meu amigo. Depois eu também vou assistir ao vivo, obviamente, depois que terminar, né? Estamos ansiosos aí para saber como vai finalizar essa missão, né? E também vão fazendo testes aí, né? Quando você quer pegar um texto fora dele, da live, ele dá esse branco aqui. Tem que escrever mesmo.
Houston integrity, all 4 seats are leak check complete.
Houston copies. Congratulations. And while you were busy, BFS outputs were enabled.
We saw them go enabled on board.
Fazendo as configurações aqui. Vocês estão acompanhando aí a missão Artemis, a reentrada da cápsula na nossa atmosfera. Fazendo todas as checagens aí. GC aqui, estamos apanhando, hein, menino? Caramba, para escrever direito, escreve direito, menino. Hoje é 10 de abril, prevista a reentrada para as 9h07. Tem um tempinho ainda, hein? Escura aí, galera. Pô, faz isso não. Quando eles estiverem reentrando, eles vão ficar 4 minutos sem comunicação com a Terra, hein? Aí é um momento de tensão. Missão ARTEMIS II, Cápsula ORION. Fica no escurinho não, menino. Isso aí dá um apavoro aí, faz isso não. Bom, só para relembrar aí, a cápsula ela está planejada aí uma reentrada a 40 mil quilômetros por hora. É velocidade para chuchu. Temperatura aproximadamente 2.700 graus. Então a nave tem toda aquela camada térmica, né, para proteger os astronautas, porque o atrito na reentrada é violento, hein? Vai ter um blackout de comunicação aí que a NASA disse, mais ou menos de 4 a 5 minutos. Aí o sinal lá da NASA. Ei, caiu! Volta, meninos! Isso é normal. Como a gente tá pegando ao vivo, né? Aguardando o restabelecimento e eu flutuando aqui no chroma key, meus queridos. É, ó. Já que eles cortaram o sinal, eu vou me teletransportar para baixo aqui, que fica mais legal, né? Então vamos ficar aguardando aí, galerinha, voltar a transmissão da NASA. Enquanto isso, vamos colocar uma trilha sonora para vocês aí, ó.
Este é o seu ponto crítico. Este é o seu ponto crítico. O foco total é a informação. Análise e debate definem o nosso trabalho. Diretrizes claras para o entendimento. Este é o seu ponto crítico. Este é o seu ponto crítico.
E aguardamos o retorno do sinal da NASA. Caramba, cortaram mesmo por enquanto. Sinal aí, faltando restabelecer o sinal com a NASA. Cadê vocês, meninos? Pessoal aí, tá todo mundo acompanhando.
Preciso de você, pai.
Por acaso você curte incesto?
Beleza, vamos trabalhar, tá?
Quem tá assistindo The Boys aí? Não quero que tire a propaganda.
Você me comeu?
Se eu tiver 50 mil reais,
Caramba, hein? Tá propaganda, hein?
é mais rentável investir em CDB, Tesouro Direto ou LCI? Uma forma bem fácil.
2.000 km por hora aqui, tá? 21.800. Olha como a velocidade tá subindo rápido agora. Eles estão a 14.000 km aproximadamente de distância da Terra. E a aceleração é assim, né? Essa mudança de velocidade, ela é muito grande agora. Olha como vai subindo, né? Olha lá. O bom é que assim, a NASA tá mostrando isso aqui em milha por hora, mas nós do Space Orbit fizemos.
Esse canal é muito bom. E aqui continua fora do ar, né? Ali ele tem outro local que ele está recebendo a transmissão. Dá uma olhada aqui se a gente encontra outras. Interessante, aqui não está. O site da NASA que mostra, pelo menos, se for pegar diretamente do site, né? Aí aparece alguma coisa. Essas são imagens diretas do site da NASA. Deixa eu ver se eu consigo ajustar melhor para vocês aqui. Dá para ter uma ideia se ele está regravado ou não, né? Uma parte, porque no site mesmo, na transmissão, tá fora. Estamos aguardando aqui. Estas são imagens do site mesmo, o site da NASA. E a transmissão deles aí tá fora do ar. Vamos acompanhando aqui pelo site da NASA mesmo. Contagem regressiva, 58 minutos. Tem um tempinho ainda até essa nave reentrar na atmosfera, né? E vamos acompanhando aqui. Deixa eu ver se eu consigo mostrar o reloginho para vocês. Aqui é uma baita de uma tela cheia, hein? O site deles já é uma tela cheia mesmo. Artemis 2 New Briefing. Bom, e a imagem que nos interessa é essa preta aqui, né? Que até agora tá fora. Estão transmitindo aí pelo site, né? Só o áudio que não tá vindo.
System, make sure that they don't fall on us here in the sea, and also our aerial assets, our folks in helicopters. So watching that float away right now. But with me right now is Captain Eric Kenny. He's the commanding officer of the John P. Murtha naval ship. Thank you so much for being here. There are so many moving parts that you have to keep an eye on.
That's absolutely right, yeah. But first of all, on behalf of the crew of USS John P. Martha, Megan, thanks for having me on today. Happy to tell you what we're doing and excited to get the interview started.
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't we actually take a look at the flight deck here? We'll start there. Basically, we also, while watching this weather balloon float away, we noticed all 4 helicopters leave the flight deck. We now have an empty flight deck. We had 2 imagery helos as well as the 2 crew helicopters that will go recover the crew. This is just one of the many things that, again, our ship of 550 people, it's something that you oversee as commanding officer.
Yeah, absolutely. Every commanding officer,
imagem conseguimos, né? Porque aquela outra saiu fora do ar.
As a commanding officer, I take that as one of my primary roles here on board. Mission accomplishment is important, safety always. So my day really has, I would say my message to the crew has sort of changed over the past 24 hours. As we're leading up to today, we've been building up the excitement and motivating the team for the training that we've executed. But really over the past 24 hours, now I'm trying to get us to slow down a little bit. Trust our training, right? Don't believe all the hype. Don't believe everything that's going on. Just let's trust what we've done to get to this point, and if we do that, we'll be successful today.
Mm-hmm. And also part of the big success is obviously the coordination between NASA and the U.S. military. How does it feel being able to support the human space program we have?
Yeah, I mean, since 1959 with Mercury, Gemini, Apollo, the history between NASA and the Navy has been in lockstep. But like any other skill, if you don't practice it regularly, that skill atrophies. So we've had a few decades off from that. But, over the past 4 or 5 years, really with this ship over the past year, we've constantly trained and working for this moment right here. Building up the hype, but to get to this point today, to be able to trust all the training we've done. We worked with, working with NASA, the Air Force, the medical team, dive team. You want to talk about high-performance organizations coming together, working in unison? We are seeing that here on board the USS John P. Martha, and I can't be more proud of the work everyone's doing.
Yeah, you had some great words this morning saying just that, again, that it's really nice to see everybody working together and so excited. I mean, you just became the commanding officer of this ship back in February. How does it personally feel for you to be a part of this historic moment today?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I'd say any opportunity to command any warship in the United States Navy is a tremendous honor, is a pinnacle of any naval officer's career. That being said, as my change of command was approaching, and I realized that Artemis was going to be in the window here, to say that I'm humbled and honored to be here is an understatement. What really just excites me is the opportunity to see this crew, who has been training so hard over the past year plus, come together. It is what inspires me. Listening to NASA and the ownership and pride they take. They make my crew better. I think we're making NASA better together. That synergy is something that I'm happy to see and hopefully take forward with me in my career.
Yeah, it's all about partnerships. We couldn't do it without you, and we couldn't have gotten to the moon without our international partners as well. So thank you so much, Captain. It was really great to have you here today.
Thanks, Megan.
Awesome. All right, Rob, back to you.
Thank you, Megan. Back here in Mission Control in Houston. We just had a quick view of the crew. We'll get that view back, and there they are again. Here in Mission Control, the entry team of flight controllers led by Rick Hensley and Jackie Mahaffey serving as the spacecraft communicator. We have just handed over communications links from the Deep Space Network that we communicated with the crew through from the time of the translunar injection burn back on April 2nd. We've just handed back to the Tracking and Data Relay satellite system as we prepare for the crew module service module separation that will take place just 17 minutes from now. With the Earth looming in front of Integrity as it barrels back for a splashdown of the Pacific just 50 minutes from now, we're just 5,700 nautical miles from splashdown. Just one other quick note about the comparison from the Artemis 1 entry profile to the Artemis 2 entry profile, and how that is serving as a extra layer of protection for Integrity's heat shield.
Não esqueça de curtir e dar like, pessoal.
The Artemis 1 entry had an entry range of some 178 nautical miles, a very long downtrack, and a very longer period of exposure to heat loads than we're experiencing tonight. It also had that skip entry profile that we discussed earlier, dipping into the Earth's atmosphere, then back out, then back in. It was about 20 minutes of exposure.
Integrity, Houston, comm check on TDRS.
Jackie, we have it loud and clear.
Bom, aqui eles encerraram a transmissão, né?
We have
Vamos
you the
deixar de
same.
stand-by aqui.
And there's one of the weather balloons
Esse aqui
being
tá bem melhor.
deployed from the USS John P. Murtha.
Só a legenda deles aí que tá com atraso lascado, hein?
So the Artemis 1 entry had the vehicle.
Any update on GPS? We haven't seen a track in yet.
Atualizando aí o GPS. Estão fazendo o tracking, né?
Reed, we are watching. We are starting to get into the window where
Rastrear.
they may start acquiring, so should be within the next 10 minutes.
Okay, sounds good. We're holding at step 17 and getting ready for CMRCS hot fire.
And that exchange indicating that we are expecting to acquire data from the GPS system on board. That'll be a navigational tool that will basically tell Integrity's computers that they're on track down the center line of the corridor for the entry interface that will lead them to their splashdown point. Once again, the Artemis 1 entry exposed the heat shield for about 20 minutes of peak heating. For Artemis 2, we're going to reach a downtrack distance of 1,701 nautical miles from the point of entry interface with just 14 minutes of duration, and it's basically a different angle of attack, a little bit steeper angle of attack that will protect the heat shield from excessive heat loads. So that is the difference between Artemis 1 and Artemis 2, all designed into this mission to gather data, to protect the heat shield, since the Artemis 3 mission and beyond will have a different designed heat shield that will allow that skim entry type of profile to be resumed for all of the future missions coming back from the South Pole of the Moon when we initiate lunar landings. So we've handed over to the tracking and data relay satellite system. That's where we'll have communications for the rest of the flight. Just to give you some time hacks here, we're 13.5 minutes away from crew module, service module separation, and just 17 minutes away from the raise burn, that 19-second firing of the thrusters that will basically be the final fine-tuning of the angle of attack for Integrity as it enters the Earth's atmosphere.
Meus queridos. Não é fácil isso aí não, hein? Muita tecnologia envolvida.
And once again, a dueling box view of some of the assets that are involved in recovery operations today.
Tem toda uma operação de recuperação da cápsula, né, pessoal? Na hora que caiu no mar aí, e foi tudo programado aí, tempo, ângulo, velocidade, para cair no ponto específico calculado por eles aí.
As you see, the assets being deployed to the splashdown zone. At the time of splashdown, we expect the John P. Murtha to be about 5 miles away from Integrity, keeping a safe distance until we are sure that the vehicle is in the water and upright, and that it is in a good configuration system-wide for the recovery teams to begin to approach the vehicle to erect that inflatable raft.
2 minutes to CMRCS warm-up hot fire.
We're ready.
That call from spacecraft communicator Jackie Mahaffey indicating that we're 2 minutes away from a quick burst of the reaction control system. Thrusters, that will be a hot fire test prior to the separation of the crew module from the service module.
Ainda não fizeram a separação do módulo, tá? Vai entrar só o módulo dos astronautas para a Terra.
Everything, all the burns that had been prescribed for that service module have been executed on time and without a problem. There is the European flight control room. that has overseen the manufacturing, the design of the European service module. They deserve quite a bit of credit on this mission for not only propelling the Integrity and its astronauts toward the moon, but also conducting the fine-tuning of its trajectory to bring it to this point where we are dead spot on down the middle of the corridor trajectory-wise to bring Integrity down for its splashdown in the Pacific just 44 minutes from now.
Velocidade de 16.000 milhas por hora, distância à Terra aí diminuindo, né? 5.000 milhas e diminuindo. E a distância para a Lua aumentando, né? 237
What you're looking at is a computer-generated visualization based on real-time telemetry from Integrity, currently traveling about 16,000 miles an hour.
Ficar do lado do Pix aqui.
Integrity traveling about 16,000 miles an hour.
For the prop cautions, we're taking a look.
Copy that.
Now just about 5,100 miles from Earth. Splashdown scheduled 43 minutes from now. We're just 9.5 minutes away from the crew module service module separation.
9 minutos vai separar a cápsula ali, tá?
We are confirming.
Integrity, we are assessing details, but so far looks like a good hot fire.
Looks good on board, Jackie. Thank you.
And Jackie Mahaffey took the words out of my mouth. I was just about to say that we had a good hot fire test of the thrusters in advance of the crew module service module separation that's coming up just 8.5 minutes from now. This will begin the period in which we will have rapid-fire succession of critical activities on board that will lead to entry interface just 28 minutes from now, where the vehicle will enter the Earth's atmosphere at an altitude of 400,000 feet. The time of entry interface, 6:53 and 30 seconds p.m. Central Time.
Estamos transmitindo aí a missão Artemis II, o retorno do casting aí dos astronautas para a Terra. E é hoje, daqui a pouquinho. Mais meia hora estão voltando, hein? Vamos torcer para dar tudo certo.
Integrity's astronauts were awakened at mid-morning to begin their entry preparations. And propulsion officer now reports a good hot fire test in preparation for the crew module service module separation. We're now inside 41 minutes until splashdown.
Integrity Houston, we have confirmed a good CMRCS hot fire, and although we are not seeing GPS acquired yet, you can skip the troubleshooting steps in 157 for now.
Integrity copies.
That GPS discussion indicating that we will be acquiring navigational data for Integrity through the Global Positioning System equipment on board. We just don't have it yet, but we will. All of Integrity's systems are in great shape to support its high-speed entry into the Earth's atmosphere. It, once again, will reach a peak speed of 24,661.21 miles an hour.
You're calling GPS. We at least have GPS 1 looking good on board.
We are confirming.
Por enquanto está tudo ok, toda a checagem está saindo nos conformes aí para evitar o
The
superaquecimento
guidance,
da
navigation,
nave.
and control officer here in Mission Control confirming that we have good lock on GPS data. We are on a communications link now through the tracking and data relay satellite system. Now, following splashdown, we're going to lose that link and go to what's called a VLDR, a very low data rate communications link, so that we can talk to the crew inside Integrity as they are on the water.
Integrity, confirm we do see good GPS.
We do too, especially GPS 1 is accepting in nav channels 1 and 3.
That GPS data is basically telling Integrity's onboard computers its position relative to the Earth, but its trajectory and its orientation according to flight dynamics, and the guidance, navigation, and control officer is spot on.
Deixa eu checar se aquela outra transmissão da NASA.
We have now armed the pyros for the crew module
Ela
service
parou mesmo,
module
hein?
separation coming up less than 5 minutes from now.
Ela bugou.
Once again, just 10 seconds after entry interface, we will see Integrity reaching its peak speed of 24,661.21 miles per hour. That will be just seconds before we begin a 6-minute blackout period.
Integrity, Houston. Your vehicle is in a good config for CM-SM SEP and go for CM raise.
Houston, we see the same on board and copy go for CM raise.
That CM raise referred to as the slight firing of 19 seconds by Integrity's thrusters with a change in velocity of 9.9 feet per second, a slight nudge of the aft end of the vehicle so that it's tilted a bit upward, providing the final angle of attack as the vehicle enters the Earth's atmosphere. This being the mitigating factor that will reduce heat loads on the heat shield as we reach a point downrange from the start of entry interface, some 1,701 nautical miles to the splashdown site. Integrity systems in excellent shape.
Tudo correndo
We are
bem por
currently
enquanto.
3,300 nautical miles left in this mission. Splashdown scheduled 36 minutes, 39 seconds from now.
São 3.300 milhas separando aí para o fim da
Integrity,
missão.
Houston. For the 2 enabled prop cautions, what happened is while the thrusters were firing, multiple pressure sensors on each of the strings diverged a bit from each other. Those limits look to be set pretty tight. We think it could happen again when the thrusters fire in the future, so we are going to suppress those messages.
We concur with suppress,
Uma
not inhibit.
diferença aí
Thank you.
dos pressurizadores aí de um para o outro, estão checando novamente.
That exchange between Jackie Mahaffey, our Capcom for tonight, and Reed Wiseman aboard Integrity, indicating basically to ignore sensor data. All of Integrity systems are in good shape.
Estão pedindo para ignorar esse sensor, né? Deve ser um falso alarme. Que o pessoal ali da NASA está monitorando na Terra também, né? É doido. Acompanhando aí cada centímetro, velho.
Now, coming up on about 90 seconds till the crew module, service module separation.
90 segundos para separar o módulo. Oi, oi, oi.
All quiet here in Mission Control as we enter the most critical phase of the completion of this flight all of the preparatory activities leading up to the vehicle entering the Earth's atmosphere just 21 minutes from now.
Da missão, né? É preparar aí para as atividades aí da reentrada da atmosfera, né? 21 minutos faltam, pessoal.
Coming up on 1 minute. Mark, 1 minute till crew module, service module separation.
1 minuto para separar aí o módulo da Orion. Nós deve estar respirando ali, não passa nem agulha, menino, não passa nem agulha nisso aí. Ai, ai, ai. Minuto longo, mas saiu. Olha que doideira, cara.
And we have confirmation of crew module, service module separation, and a great view, albeit momentarily.
Houston, good stuff on
board. Agora, gente, direção à Terra.
Houston copies and concurs.
The European service module now separated from Integrity, a job well done.
Integrity, no action for the 4 CDH cautions. Those are SM related, not applicable.
Integrity.
Bom, a câmera que mostrava ali aquela imagem da Terra se aproximando, ela fica naquele propulsor ali, tá? Então, dificilmente a gente vai ter imagens agora, só quando se aproximar da atmosfera, né? Abrir os paraquedas, isso aí a gente vai chegar a ver.
A 19-second firing of Integrity's thrusters.
GPS 2.
Integrity copies, good GPS 2.
Já imaginou, cara?
Coming up on the 2-minute mark until the raise burn. Again, this is the final tweaking of the orientation of Integrity to put it in the right angle, if you will, the angle of attack that it will fly in during its entrance into the Earth's atmosphere. Entry interface now just 18 minutes, 25 seconds away. This is a visualization, but driven by real-time telemetry. This is the maneuvering of Integrity to the raise burn orientation. Just 2,800 miles from Earth.
Bom, pessoal, agora a velocidade deles vai aumentar demais, tá? 18.000 milhas aqui, aumentando direto.
Houston, we got a great view of the European service module out the window with the sun hitting the side and the solar rays. And the NASA worm right there. It's a beautiful looking machine.
Roger.
And we have completed the maneuver to the raise burn orientation, 1 minute away from the raise burn.
É muito detalhe aí agora, né? Pro finalzinho. Não dá nada errado. Se inscreva aí, pessoal, dá o like, ajuda o canal a crescer, curte aí. Se você gostou, manda pros amigos, se você não gostou, manda pros inimigos, tá bom?
crew module raise burn is underway, a 19-second firing of the thrusters, and we have a completion of the burn.
Integrity, good. CM raise burn. Your flight path angle is within limits.
Integrity copies. Looks good on board, Jackie.
So the final maneuver is now complete.
Our trajectory for a splashdown in the Pacific 29 minutes from now is set and will not be amended further, and we have the right angle of attack to mitigate any excessive heat loads on the vehicle during entry interface.
Integrity Houston, a heads up about comm coverage. When you perform the 180 roll, for the first minute or so in that attitude, we expect about a minute LOS.
Tudo ajustado aí, o ângulo de ataque de entrada para terra, posição, tudo ajustadinho, hein? Que tecnologia, hein, gente? E aí vão dizer que é chroma key.
So for those who are watching the series of events coming up, we will enter the first traces of Earth's atmosphere 14 minutes 45 seconds from now. 6:53 and 30 seconds is what is pegged for entry interface at an altitude of 400,000 feet, traveling at approximately 34,800 feet per second, range to touchdown or splashdown 1,701 nautical miles. 24 seconds after entry interface, we will enter a 6-minute blackout period in which we will lose communications with the crew. This is expected due to the buildup of plasma around the vehicle. That's an ionization effect due to the collision, if you will, of the velocity of the spacecraft with the friction of the Earth's atmosphere. That 6-minute blackout is expected to begin at 6:53 and 54 seconds p.m. Central Time. During that period of time, we will reach our peak speed of 24,661 miles per hour. That comes just short, based on unofficial data from the flight dynamics officer right now, will come just short of the velocity record set by Apollo 10 of 24,791 miles per hour in 1969.
Porque ela só vai chegar a 40.000 quilômetros só.
We expect peak heating on the vehicle at 6:54 and 52 seconds p.m. Central Time, a minute and 22 seconds into entry interface. At that
point, we will be just
204,000 feet above Earth,
falta
traveling
ainda
at
uma meia horinha, hein?
33,000 feet per
Quase.
second. The blackout period is expected to last 6 minutes. We expect that blackout period to end at 6:59 and 55 seconds p.m. Central Time.
É hoje.
From the end of the blackout period until splashdown, it is just 7 minutes, at which point we'll start deploying the series of parachutes to slow integrity down to an ultimate splashdown velocity of just 19 miles an hour.
We see the same, waiting for the 180 rolls.
Bom, agora não tem mais contato visual, né? Porque foi separado o módulo de onde tinha a câmera ficou no espaço. Aquele módulo saiu, nós só vimos o módulo saindo. Depois vocês revisam aí, volta na live, dá uma assistida. E agora a próxima imagem que a gente tem vai ser lá dentro da atmosfera mesmo.
But in rapid fire succession.
And we have a great view of the moon out window 2. Looks a little smaller than yesterday.
Agora é só para baixo mesmo.
Guess we'll have to go back.
Agora é só para baixo, não tem como.
Reed Wiseman and Jackie Mahaffey exchanging discussion on a view of the moon that Integrity's astronauts are seeing in the final minutes of this mission that will be completed with splashdown just 25 minutes from now. 3 forward bay cover parachutes will be used to pull the forward bay cover off the top of the vehicle Then 2 drogue parachutes will be deployed to slow and stabilize the crew module during its descent, followed by 3 pilot parachutes that will lift and deploy the main parachutes from the forward bay. The final sequence will have 3 main parachutes deployed. These will be 116 feet in diameter, each main parachute approximately 265 feet long when reefed. The parachutes will ultimately slow Integrity down from its peak speed of almost 33 times the speed of sound to a gentle 19 miles an hour at splashdown. The vehicle is now currently in a roll to the proper attitude for entry interface. Our trajectory is right on according to flight dynamics.
Tudo acertadinho. Como disse o Ale aí, não tem muito o que fazer, né? Agora é senta e curte. Não é fácil não.
Integrity is on a trajectory from southwest and northeast across the Pacific Ocean, descending at a rate of 15,000 feet per second. Range to touchdown 4,300 nautical miles, all the systems in excellent shape.
Que imagem será essa? Exatamente. Essa aqui é a emoção aí, né? Eles saírem também do módulo, né? Isso aí vai ser show.
Integrity, Orion in the EI roll 180 attitude.
E ver como a gente está atrasado, né? Na parte de tecnologia aí. Não sai nada ali daquela base de Alcântara nossa.
Windows. We had a call for 3 good barrows. Those are barometric pressure sensors that feed altitude and rate of descent information to Integrity's computers that will trigger the parachute deployment sequence. We are less than 9 minutes away from entry interface, 22 minutes from splashdown.
É a janela da Ingrid. É, cara, que imagem é essa, né? Eu queria saber mesmo.
You can see the reflection of one of the crew members in the window. Out in the Pacific, the weather conditions remain go. Just a few clouds, some scattered clouds, winds at 10 knots,
né?
Wave heights just about 4 feet. A gentle day in the Pacific for the homecoming of Integrity's astronauts.
Integrity. É, na hora que pousar ali, segundo o narrador aí, disse que vai ter uma janela aí que eles esperam para ver se está tudo bem, né? Para poder chegar até a cápsula.
We see the same on board, Jackie. Houston, Verge is complete. Crew and vehicle are configured for entry.
Tudo ok, tudo configuradinho, conforme.
And we're in step 37, transferring navigate to BFS.
Lógico que eu não programei essa live, eu entrei sem avisar ninguém, né? Não deixei ela programada. Mas tudo é teste, né? baixo, do lado do Pix.
Integrity, no action required.
Nenhuma ação necessária por enquanto.
Integrity.
Now 6 minutes away from entry interface, we will hit the first traces of Earth's atmosphere at an altitude of 400,000 feet, traveling about 34,882 feet per second. Ranged splashdown at that point will be 1,701 nautical miles.
E a velocidade dele só aumentando, até chegar a 40.000 km por hora.
Once again, just a reminder, some 24 seconds after entry interface, we do expect to lose communications with the vehicle and the crew during a 6-minute blackout period when a plasma shield will build up around the spacecraft due to the ionization due to heating effects. And Flight Dynamics has just confirmed we will have a blackout period of exactly 6 minutes in duration. And once again, that's due to the fact that plasma buildup around the vehicle will prevent the communications and data, so we will not be able to talk to the crew members at that time, nor will we receive data here in the flight control room.
Houston, everything is looking good on board. Just confirm no pre-EI downloads.
Houston concurs.
São 5 minutinhos
blackout
aí
period to begin at
tensos.
6:53 and 54 seconds p.m. Central Time, and again will last about 6 minutes in duration. We're 4 minutes away from entry
6
interface.
minutos aí de escuridão na comunicação. E a Terra? Será que o formato dela tá batendo? Ué, chroma aqui também, gente. Rapaz, eu fico pasmo. Eu dou uma olhada em sites aí que mostram aí, querem manusear as imagens. Cara, 40 mil, 100 mil pessoas que assistem ali, dão like. Não consigo entender isso aí. Tem muita gente que não acredita.
This view from Integrity as it crosses from southwest to northeast across the Pacific Ocean, 3 minutes from entry interface. $16.5 minutes till splashdown.
3 minutinhos aí para reentrada e 16 minutos a previsão para chegar lá no oceano.
And in position, as are the airborne imagery assets that we hope to receive imagery from as Artemis enters the Earth's atmosphere and through parachute deployment.
E todo mundo quer ver a abertura dos paraquedas, né? Pô, isso aí é o máximo. E a saída deles também da cápsula, né?
All of Integrity's systems are in great shape. The crew is ready to complete its mission just 15.5 minutes from now. All of the activities today have gone off in perfect fashion. No issues with the vehicle, no issues with the crew. And the weather at the splashdown site is go.
Tá tudo ótimo. O tempo tá bom. Os astronautas estão bem. Todas as checagens aí saíram muito boas hoje. E a área ali onde vai cair, vai pousar, né, o módulo, tá tudo ok, já preparado, né? O navio fica a cerca de 5 milhas.
Coming up on 1 minute until entry interface.
Pra não ter problema nenhum, né? Cara, tudo calculado, a terra gira, a nave tem o ângulo de entrada, o tempo, tudo programado para cair no lugar certinho, hein? Que tecnologia.
1 minute 20 seconds until the expected start of our 6-minute blackout.
Integrity, 1 minute to a 6-minute blackout.
Integrity.
Meus queridos, não esquece, você que está vendo ao vivo depois que terminou, tá acompanhando as imagens com a gente aí, dá um like, curta, compartilha, ajuda o canal a crescer, menino. Passa para toda aquela galera que não acredita.
Now entering the Earth's atmosphere. We're at 400,000 feet, traveling 34,800 feet per second. Time to splash down 13 minutes 10 seconds.
É 13 minutos aí para o splashdown, né?
And as predicted, we've entered our communications blackout. This will be a 6-minute blackout period. No voice, no data from the crew.
Foi de louco, né?
We're 30 seconds away from the anticipated point of peak heating on the vehicle, where temperatures will rise to about 4,000 to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the true test of our trajectory. And from the G5 aircraft, in the vicinity of the splashdown zone, this view of integrity. So that pinpoint of light shows the vehicle as it enters the period of peak heating in the Earth's atmosphere, the first tug of gravity being felt by Integrity's astronauts since their launch back on April 1st. Four and a half minutes until the end of the blackout period.
É 10 dias de missão, né? Saíram no dia 1º, hoje é dia 10, 10 dias de missão.
33 seconds. The landing and support officer reports that the P-3 has acquisition on Integrity. Three and a half minutes left in this blackout period. This is a visualization of the plasma buildup around the spacecraft and the repelling of that heat on Integrity's heat shield.
Filmar isso? Show de imagem. Ops. Cara, aumentando a velocidade, 25.000 milhas por hora. A previsão é de 40.000. Imagem linda. Nossa, acho que nem lembro de ter visto isso tão Tão bem assim, né?
Flight Dynamics reports that airborne assets in the vicinity of the splashdown zone do have a visual on integrity. Still 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in our blackout period.
Cara, e tem 4 pessoas ali dentro,
9 minutes, 35 seconds.
Os caras estão agarrando ali com as unhas, fincando na poltrona, meu amigo. Não passa nem agulha.
Part of the recovery team all have visuals on integrity.
Que louco, que louco. Coisa linda. Curte aí, pessoal. Você que tá vendo ao vivo depois que terminou, a gente vai fazer uns cortes aqui. E vamos colocar para todo mundo poder ver isso aí.
And the Navy helos also have visuals. We're still in the blackout period.
Estão no ar-condicionado, sim.
Still do not have communications from
Dá uma olhada aí que a velocidade já tá caindo, né? Ó, 13.000, 13.930, 13.800. Já tá desacelerando o atrito da Terra, né? Estão a 39 milhas da Terra só. Então logo aí. Estão chegando. De volta pra casa, hein? Verdadeiros heróis, hein?
We're standing by for communications from the crew. We should be out of the blackout period less than a minute from now.
12.000 quilômetros de velocidade. 12.000 quilômetros por hora. Que telescópio bom que esses caras têm, hein? Urra, mano!
We are now processing data from integrity.
Ui.
Landing and support officer reports the small boats are en route to the splashdown target zone.
Ah, eles já estão vendo aquela bola, né? Pessoal lá da... Isso. Ah, depois vai ser um show de imagem, né? Amanhã, então. Nossa Senhora. Agora o pessoal deve estar filmando de lá do navio, né?
Passing through 150,000 feet, our trajectory is perfect. We're getting intermittent views of integrity. Still waiting to establish voice communication.
Integrity, Houston, comm check, post-blackout.
Houston, Integrity, we have you loud and clear.
Maravilha.
Your
Comunicação
trajectory is
restabelecida.
nominal and your recovery teams have visual.
Guidance looks good.
No action for the enabled internal camera controller fail.
Big cheers from the viewing room here in Mission Control as voice communication reestablished with Commander Reed Wiseman. For America and a waiting world, integrity is 5.5 minutes away from coming home.
5 minutinhos. 5 minutinhos para chegar para casa, cara. Que loucura.
I'm waiting for her to get back to Mission Control so we can zoom in on their monitor where there's even more data that we're not getting fed publicly.
Splashdown 19 nautical miles. Range to splashdown 19 nautical miles.
Look at that, velocity's down to 890 meters per second.
Velocidade caindo,
874.
Né?
There will not be a camera on the outside of Orion at this point. The camera you saw earlier in the mission is likely
Integrity
not
impact
even
to the camera controller fail
functional
is
anymore.
No cab 1
That
views
service
of the
module is going to break up.
Integrity impact to the camera controller fail is no cab 1 views of the chutes.
Integrity.
Okay,
We're
chutes aren't out yet, y'all.
Through the GPS system. A good view of integrity. Time to splashdown. We're processing good data through the GPS system. A good view of integrity. Time to splashdown 4.5 minutes. And a view of integrity from the WB-57.
Looking good though.
We're at 50,000 feet. And a view of integrity from the WB-57.
Pessoal suando frio ali.
We're at 50,000 feet.
People were worried about the heat shield. Heat shield did great. Now it's all in the chutes.
Agora só aguardando os paraquedas.
We're past that point. You're going to see some puffs. There's still those RCS thrusters could still be functioning right now to make sure the vehicle's in the right attitude.
The pyros are armed for forward bay cover
Essa fumacinha aí é a checagem de se está na correta
pyros are armed
altitude.
for forward bay cover jettison.
We'll see that cover pop off. Drogues followed.
3 estágios de paraquedas, hein? Vamos olhar.
And there go the first series of parachutes.
The drogues are used to stabilize Orion during its fall. There we go.
And there go the first series
Essa é
of
a primeira
parachutes.
desaceleração,
Drogues.
né?
And we're on drogues.
That's great. Okay. Drogues are going to pull.
Next up,
Drogues are going to pull the larger chutes out next.
Next up, the deployment of pilot
Esses
parachutes that will
paraquedas que vão puxar os
see
próximos
ocean?
time to
paraquedas.
splash down 3 minutes and pilot parachutes that will pull the main chutes out. Time to splash down 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Em 3 minutos está chegando no impacto da água.
This is huge. This is
Perfect
huge.
descent rate according to flight dynamics.
Good rates on 2 drogues.
Perfect descent rate according to flight dynamics.
Good rates on 2 drogues.
We're looking good.
We see the same on board.
Whole point of drogues is to stabilize the vehicle so it doesn't have any kind of weird wobble or positioning for the larger
Passing through
chutes.
10,000 feet. Still on
It's
drogues.
looking great. This is a ground-based
Passing
camera.
through 10,000 feet. Still on drogues.
Pessoal, dá aquela
We want
respirada,
3
né, cara?
big, beautiful chutes,
Ó,
y'all.
agora vai sair o próximo paraquedas. Aê!
Orion can safely
Olha que
land with
coisa
2.
linda, hein?
Here we go.
We're at 5,000 feet. Deploy.
Come on.
We're
Looks
at
like one's not
5,000
having a
feet.
good time.
Search and recovery beacon has been activated on
There we
integrity.
Dá aquela
Search and recovery
desacelerada,
beacon has
hein?
been activated. And we have 3 good main chutes. Integrity. Good 3 main chutes. And we have 3 good main chutes. Good descent rate.
Good rates, and we see 3 good-looking parachutes.
Good 3 main chutes. Good reefing. Good
3
descent rate.
paraquedas ativaram
3
bem.
good-looking parachutes.
That is beautiful, man.
Todo mundo com uma alegria aí, cara. Doideira, hein?
Integrity. Cabin pressure indicates no need for hydrazine checks.
Oh my God.
Integrity captain.
Integrity. Cabin pressure indicates no need for
Agora é só
hydrazine checks.
esperar cair na água e fazer o resgate,
That is
né? Isso que todo
amazing.
mundo quer ver, né?
Its crew sounding
This is the best, y'all. This is the best news we could
This
have
is a
gotten.
perfect descent for
Cara,
integrity to
tudo
splash down its
certinho,
crew
hein? Que
sounding
maravilha, hein?
Hale and Hardy
Sucesso.
on board.
NASA pitched a perfect game here, man.
Time to splash down 1 minute 15 seconds.
Menos de 2
Oh, man.
minutos
Beautiful.
para
This is beautiful.
alcançar a água.
Integrity about to complete a
I have no
journey
idea how many people are watching
spanning
right now, but thank you all for being here.
694,481 miles. Integrity about to complete a journey Space Center spanning 694,481 miles from its launch from the Kennedy Space Center back on April 1st, and a trip around the moon.
This is a shot from a helicopter. They are now below the
Isso aí são
helicopter.
imagens do helicóptero. Sucesso, sucesso, Ale. Os caras já vão
The RCS
começar a
thrusters are still
planejar
firing.
aqueles
Passing
3.
through 1,000 feet.
A 1000 pés, mais baixo que um avião.
Passing through 1,000 feet.
You will see the vehicle safe itself once it touches down in the ocean. Essentially safing itself, it'll exhaust all of its propellant. So it's safe for the divers.
Cara, tudo automático aí também, né? Ele tá gastando esse pouco de combustível que ele tem. Olha que show de imagem, cara. Deixa eu me colocar aqui que eu vou fazer um corte depois. Olha que show de imagem. A missão Artemis de volta com sucesso. Pousou na água. Aê! Que imagem, gente.
Splashdown confirmed. 5:07 p.m. Pacific time. Splashdown confirmed at 7:07 p.m. Central Time, 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time. The exploration of our celestial neighbor is complete. Of Jules Verne, Integrity's astronauts, mission to the moon, back on Earth. A new chapter of the exploration of our celestial neighbor is complete. Integrity's astronauts, back on Earth.
Novo capítulo aí da exploração espacial concluído, hein? Vamos esperar aí a saída do pessoal aí.
The crew module uprighting system to maintain that orientation. The vehicle is stable. Bullseye splashdown. We still will be deploying the crew module uprighting system to maintain that orientation. A perfect bullseye splashdown for Integrity and its 4 astronauts.
Beautiful. This is art. This is art. We may see some orange golf ball looking balloons on the top of the vehicle deploy here in a moment. Those are used in the event that the vehicle does tip over in the ocean, but this is as good as it gets.
The unofficial splashdown time, 7:07 and 47 seconds p.m. Central Time.
Thank you, Thomas.
We'll get that unofficial splashdown time. That would put 7:07 and 47 seconds p.m. Central Time. We'll get that 35 minutes 35 seconds. That would put the end of the mission at a mission elapsed time of 9 days, 1 hour, 31 minutes, 35 seconds. And we're configuring for very low data rate. And we're configuring for very low data rate. Splashdown occurring in the Pacific, southwest of San Diego. Once again, splashdown occurring seconds p.m. in the Pacific, southwest of San Diego at 7:07 and 47 seconds p.m.
Integrity Houston, contact on VOLTA. We have you the same. We'll meet you over in post-landing.
Houston, we have you loud and clear on VOLTA, Hollis.
Perfect communications
we have you
established.
The same. We'll meet you over in post-landing.
We are stable 1, 4 green crew members.
Perfect communications established.
Houston,
we are stable 1, 4 green.
Reed Wiseman reporting 4 green crew members. That is not their complexion. That
Houston,
is
copies all.
The fact that they're in great condition. Reed Wiseman reporting 4 green crew members. That is not their complexion. So stable 1, that is upright. The fact that their uprighting system is being deployed. The 5 airbags being inflated through helium. Stable 1 to maintain the upright crew module uprighting system is being deployed. The 5 airbags being inflated through helium. Touchdown to maintain the upright configuration. Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen back on entry and a textbook journey around Integrity. Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen back on Earth after a journey around the moon.
Uns minutinhos aí que eles estão aguardando.
So they're still safing the vehicle.
Pra sair dali, né?
The propellant tanks will be venting. There are those airbags that the commentator mentioned earlier. That's in the event that Orion does tip over. Make it easier and safer for the crew to climb out.
Cara, tem que estabilizar primeiro, né? Não é só sair correndo, pegar eles lá não.
I'm so relieved.
We continue to monitor the functioning of the CMOOS system. The airbags are being inflated. We can maintain a stable 1 to monitor the functioning of the CMOOS system. There's a good airbags are being inflated. The naval helicopters to maintain a stable 1 and upright configuration. And there's a good view Reed Wiseman from reporting the naval helicopters 4 green crew members, meaning they're all in excellent shape. Reed Wiseman reporting 4 green crew members, meaning they're all in excellent shape.
Todo mundo está com a integridade legal aí. O comandante Wiseman reportando.
Chad, I'm scrolling through right now looking for any questions you may all have.
Integrity
Any of you
Houston
may
4, Star
have.
Beacon and radio.
At this point, divers.
Integrity Houston 4, Star Beacon and radio.
406, and we're powering the radio now. Go ahead. Star Beacon is
We see the beacon on, however, the recovery team is not seeing the signal. Your SAR radio uses the same antenna, however, the recovery team is not seeing the signal. Your SAR radio uses the same antenna, so you may run into trouble with the radio.
SAR is search and rescue.
Okay, copy. We are also powering up the sat phone now.
So integrity is in great shape.
We're still going to role play
continues its post
everything down.
So integrity
timeline
is in great shape. Board. And once again reporting that continues its crew members are in excellent shape. Timelined activities on board. And we have 5 inflated airbags to maintain an upright configuration. So that the reaction, the recovery team to maintain an upright configuration can now begin a slow approach so that to the reaction. Meanwhile, here in the flight control room, entry flight director Rick Henfling can now begin polling his team of flight controllers for the start. Here in the flight control room, entry flight director Rick Henfling powering down the vehicle, polling his team of flight controllers systems check. For the start, we have no toxic gases of powering down the vehicle concerned about after so the recovery personnel can approach the vehicle.
So we're getting a lot of questions in chat.
But not until we have
one of them
powered
being
down the spacecraft. That's expected to take a few more minutes.
Did those tiny chutes at the beginning actually do anything? They look very small. They're not designed to necessarily slow the vehicle down. They're designed to stabilize it as it falls through the atmosphere. By having those drogue chutes follow behind the capsule, it can help remove any extra kind of wobbliness or maybe an attitude, which is it's a Gatorade bottle, the direction the vehicle is facing as it falls to the atmosphere. You don't want to deploy those larger chutes if the capsule's not in the right attitude.
Integrity back
and those
on
drogue
Earth,
chutes also serve
its historic
to pull out the larger chutes, which really require a lot
it was,
of
for all intents and purposes, a textbook mission.
On 2828, but I'll remain on this frequency.
We copy.
Expectativa, vamos lá pegar os
The event SAR does arrive in
meninos,
time and integrity takes on water. Presumably the crew has contingency plan to escape. Yes, of course. If you saw on their IVA suits that they wore on launch and entry, they've got these blue bags under their arms. That's their life jackets that they can literally just take a string, pop it out, and they become little boats. And on the side of their leg, there's also like an inflatable raft. But that's not going to be necessary here. The vehicle is in stable 1 condition, which means it's in the upright condition. There's stable 2, stable 3. There's different stable configurations of the vehicle. They even practice if the capsule is completely upside down and they can't get out the main hatch for them to get out the for them to turn the vehicle and
the propulsion
to right
officer
it
here in Mission Control reports that we have safed the prop system on integrity.
But any of those contingencies.
Can you say again that was very weak and
those
broken?
would be really helpful in the event that it was an emergency, or
Integrity,
something happened on our planet that they were not going to be able to get support.
Copy that, Houston. It might have been on the SAR radio. Stand by.
It being pressurized, it shouldn't sink anyway, right? It's not going to sink in its status. It's naturally buoyant. Orion is not like, I mean, yes, if it took on enough water, it would sink.
Were executed in
just like any boat.
Fashion.
But
integrity entering the Earth's atmosphere.
Orion's hatch is not going to be open until
right on time.
A rescue diver from the outside opens it up.
Reaching its peak speed shortly after a blackout period began. We emerged from the blackout period. But the recovery imagery airborne
Why is SAR not there yet?
Able to pick up,
well, there's two factors here. One,
immediately through entry
distance.
interface.
They purposefully aren't right there immediately
finally,
because the vehicle, you can't really see it, but it is venting propellant.
First, the forward bay cover being pulled off the top of the vehicle by a series of 3 parachutes. Then the drogue chutes were deployed, followed by the 3 main chutes, that slowed the splashdown velocity of Integrity to just 19 miles an hour.
It uses hypergolic propellants, which are extremely toxic if touched, breathed. You look at them the wrong way. Again, this vehicle touchdown off the coast of San Diego, in the Pacific
Ocean. Vai ter gente já compilando imagens aí e colocando os melhores momentos aí.
So what about the command module? Is it just going to float around in orbit, or are they planning to come back to Earth? So I think you mean the service module. Service module is probably in 1,000 tiny little bits over the Pacific at the moment. So that is not coming back. This Orion is not going to fly again. At least the pressure vessel is not, which is like the shell. They are going to, it's going to undergo just a huge examination for future missions, but they will be pulling components from inside the Orion to use on future flights, you know, computers, chairs, things like that. So when we see this Orion in a museum one day, it will be itself. They'll remove all the tiles, they'll remove the heat shield, and do a very thorough examination to make sure that they don't have to make any major changes to the design.
E vamos aguardar quando vão ser as próximas missões, né? Opa, estão chegando aí.
How long does it take the engines to clear gravity again? Here is SAR.
If you are happy with your comm with Master Diver, you can go back to the 15-minute power down.
They're only gone for 10 days. They could experience some nausea and some disorientation, but they weren't. It's not like they were on the space station for a year.
On board Integrity coordinating with the flight control team in Houston here in Mission Control on the timing of the power down of the vehicle,
required,
which will be the precursor to the recovery teams approaching the spacecraft.
They will airlift the crew so they get back to the carrier much faster. We just saw how long it took for the boat to get there. We don't even know how far the boat was from the carrier when it touched down.
Communications capability between the crew on board Integrity and the recovery team. That will get sorted out here shortly. There's plenty of cooling on board Integrity, so there's no rush to begin the power
DNLL asks, I saw much higher speed than intended on the re-entry according to telemetry, beating the Apollo record, although they're supposed to be short by 100 miles per hour. What could have happened? Poof. I don't know. I'd be speculating through and through. It's hard to say what could have happened. There's so many variables at play.
And Houston, if you could relay to recovery,
but I can assure you that there's going to be very, very thorough reports that'll be publicized, like partially publicized. And NASA press conferences, the media are going to have a field day, in all the good ways, but also asking some of the more niche outlets, space outlets, will be asking tough questions.
You are pushing the PTT on the radio.
I'm very much looking forward to seeing the National Geographic footage. They were shooting the entire mission, content that we have not seen yet. Why is Space Shuttle not doable to the moon?
As we continue to sort
the
out
Space Shuttle was a very large vehicle, very heavy. It was not designed to go beyond low Earth orbit. You would have had to add a significant amount of
the recovery teams are moving towards the side of the capsule
to that vehicle.
The next major event will be the erection of that large inflatable
Could it have gone to the moon?
Called the front porch.
Maybe, but
that will be the port of call for the crew as they're being extracted one by one from the vehicle.
Very basic terms, it didn't have enough energy to go beyond low Earth orbit.
Expectativa aí para a saída deles, né?
Apologies, I'm calling it a carrier. It's not technically an aircraft carrier. You might think of the Navy with fighter jets flying on and off.
Good idea, standing by.
Although I believe the F-35.
And Jackie, yes, we are pushing the push to talk, the two buttons on the left side of the radio below the up-down arrows. We are utilizing them. I'm rebooting the radio to see if we get good comms.
No, I'm wrong. It's an amphibious.
Okay, we copy all, and just to confirm, you are seeing that you're in touchdown plus
a parte do
3030 for power,
resgate e a
correct?
cápsula ali. Estão vendo se é o rádio, o que está
That's the
acontecendo.
affirmative.
Rapaz, cara, tudo ansioso para sair dali de dentro.
The ship they're going to be going to, thank you very much for Robert Mallory for his comment.
To
It's the
have,
USS John
Mission
P.
Control
Murtha.
here call the
It's an
crew on their
amphibious
satellite phone. This is all
transport
part of
dock
the
ship.
coordination for the power down of the vehicle that will initiate the actual recovery operation. The first boats with the Navy divers on board
Primarily carrying
are
Seahawk
standing by,
helicopters for
waiting to
airlift.
close in on integrity to begin the process of erecting the large inflatable raft.
Caramba, quanta
That's called
also
front
carries
port.
two Ospreys.
That will be
Chegar até eles,
where the
hein?
astronauts are extracted from, so that they can have
And
a few
it could
minutes to
carry
get
up
their
a couple
land
Sea
legs back
Kings.
before they're hoisted.
So they haven't approached
aboard the
Orion
Navy
yet because it
helicopters
is
for the
likely
flight
still
back to the deck of the
venting its
USS
propellant.
John P. Murtha.
Ou estão se estabilizando lá dentro também, né? Porque, pô, antigamente o pessoal saía carregado dessas naves aí, né?
Canberra. WAP HD for you. I will call it Canberra from now
A
on.
falta de gravidade judia muito do corpo humano, né?
Can we remove the schedule, make the picture bigger? Absolutely. We have seen there's
And
really no
Houston,
need to see
please
the
don't
telemetry
reply.
anymore. The
NRD,
vehicle
very weak,
is now back home.
but readable. Master diver, we can hear,
Stand
but they
by.
cannot hear us.
Tá tendo um probleminha com o rádio ali entre eles, né? Eles conseguem ouvir, mas não conseguem retransmitir aí para conversar com eles, né? E aí, qual que é o primeiro procedimento? Será que vem ali pessoal de dentro ou pessoal de fora tem que interagir aí? A expectativa é grande, a ansiedade está maior que a reentrada já.
And Houston, on OE1, is there any chance to tie us into NRD?
Does the fuel have any side effects in the sea life as it is highly toxic? No, it'll get watered down extremely quick. It's not to the point where it's like a huge pollutant to the environment. The water will dilute it and the air will dilute it extremely quickly. But the risk is if you're standing right next to it and it vents near you, yeah, you're gonna get some flavor of cancer.
This is Mission Control, Houston. While we stand by
When am I
for
going
the
to space?
establishment of communications
I
between
need to make a lot of money to do that.
and the recovery team that is basically standing
Turn the
by
volume
very
back on
close
here.
to the spacecraft, we're going to go to the recovery team that is basically standing by very close to the spacecraft. We're going to go to the deck of the USS John P. Murtha, where Megan Cruz is standing by with Administrator Jared Isaacman.
Estão tentando estabelecer as comunicações, né? Não estão conseguindo se comunicar ali com os astronautas.
Hey Rob, yeah, just such an honor to be able to be here on the ship, to be able to share and experience this moment with everyone together, and of course, as you just said, yes, here with NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman. Administrator, how did you feel getting to witness this and seeing NASA at its best?
Waiting my whole lifetime to see this, and then childhood NASA administrator, I just couldn't be more proud. Waiting my whole lifetime to see this, and then from across the country, I just contributed to this incredible moment, the years, the effort, the late nights, all the hard work. Yeah, incredibly grateful too for our teams here on the John P. Murtha right now.
Yeah, look at the behind the scenes.
What do you guys guys think we just brought some astronauts back from the moon, teams here on the John P. Murtha right now.
Isso aí é a bordo do navio lá de resgate.
Yeah, so grateful to the Navy, the sailors that are here, the NASA teams. I mean, this is a joint effort that's on their way right now. These recovery forces are getting out to our Orion spacecraft that are here, the NASA teams. I mean, this is a joint effort that's on their way right now. These recovery forces are getting out to our Orion
This is an accomplishment for humanity again. A historic mission to the moon and back. This is not just an accomplishment for NASA. This is an accomplishment for humanity again.
Well, I'll tell you, I think about our crew members that we've all had an opportunity to observe over the last 10 days. Well, I'll tell you, I think about our professional astronauts that we've all had an opportunity to observe poets, but then I think these were the ambassadors from humanity to the stars that we sent out there right now. And I can't almost poets, but then I think these were the ambassadors from humanity to the stars that we sent out there right now. And so I guess it's a huge moment for everybody, right? I mean, we're back in the business of sending astronauts right now to the moon. Yes, it's a huge moment for everybody, set up for a series more. We're back in the business of sending once in a lifetime astronauts sometimes to the moon. This was a once in a lifetime. No, it's not. It's just the beginning. We're going to get back into doing this in a lifetime with frequency sending around here. It's like this was a once in a lifetime until we land on it in 2028 and start building. We are going to get back into doing this.
Are we going to build on the momentum for Artemis 3? I mean, it's just around the corner.
Absolutely. So I mean, that's part of me too. I can't wait to get the crew off of Artemis 3. I mean, it's just around the corner. Absolutely. So I mean, that's back part of me too. I can't wait to get the look at it because all that data is so precious to us right now. But I mean, we're getting definitely want to take a good look at on the ship so we can start taking a look at it because all that data is so precious to us right now. I mean, we are going to definitely want to take a good look at the thermal protection system. SRB segments already showing up at KSC core stage for Artemis 3 is rolling out on April 20th. Right? Yeah, SRB segments already showing up. We're getting Mobile Launcher 1 back in vehicle assembly building. So yes, on April 20th, there is a lot to celebrate right now on 30 mission. We're getting Mobile Launcher 1 back in vehicle assembly building. So there is a lot to celebrate right now on the mission.
People who joined us for all 10 days to see what we can accomplish together with our international partners. For people who joined us for all 10 days to see what we can accomplish together with our international partners. What do you think about the fact that we're going to keep doing this more and more and more?
It's incredibly exciting. I mean, yes, it's the Canadian Space Agency astronaut on board in Jeremy. We had the European Service Module, and you think our international partners, the Canadian Space Agency astronaut prior to launching Artemis 2, European Service Module, and Italian Space Agency, we signed a memorandum of understanding to build prior to launching Artemis 2 module. I was meeting with the Italian Space Agency. We signed a memorandum of understanding coming together saying we are committed to this effort. We are returning to the moon. We're doing it to stay. All of our allies and partners coming together saying we're going to master the skills on the surface of the moon. We are returning to the moon. We're doing it to stay. We are building that incredibly exciting time. We're going to master the skills on the surface of the moon. So someday we can undertake
and speaking of everyone,
one
more time, we're going to ask the crew here. You guys ready to land on the moon?
And we're not going at it alone. We're bringing everybody along with us.
Absolutely. And speaking of everyone, one more time, we're going to ask the crew here. You guys ready to land? Thank you so much, Administrator. Appreciate you being here. We're, of course, going to stay on to watch the crew get extracted from Orion. So stay tuned, and we'll see you back here shortly.
I think they're wrapping that up. So some really great questions. Is this crew going to fly in the next mission? No, but there is rumors that
thank you, Megan,
the next crew for Artemis 3 will be announced in not too long. The administrator is really pushing hard to increase the flight rate of the Space Launch System. They want to fly the next test flight next year. That'll be probably towards the end of next year, so we're probably looking at 18 months from now.
That occurred at 7:07
that Artemis 3 mission will be docking with a lunar lander. Whose that will be, we do not know yet. Is it Starship? Is it Blue Origin's Blue Moon? Both of these companies have a lot of work to do for that, and a lot needs to go right because this administration is pushing for a human landing on the moon by the end of 2028.
We now have confirmation that the vehicle has been powered down.
Seems far away, but in spaceflight it is not.
So we have vehicle powered down.
It was a very long time. It's been like 2 years since Artemis 1. Here we are.
Has handed over mission authority to the Exploration Ground Systems team out in the Pacific. Now, we will physically not get off console with this team until the crew has been extracted into the front porch that inflatable raft that will be erected along the side hatch of Integrity. So we're standing by for that. In the next step in the recovery procedures, but everything is in great shape, and we have 4 healthy crew members on board the vehicle. For that. In the next step in the recovery procedures, but everything is in great shape, and we have 4 healthy crew members on board the vehicle.
The desire is that just like Dragon, this is going to be a boring thing at a certain point. We want to be flying at a rate in which coming to and from the moon is just typical. You know, early Dragon flights, early space shuttle flights,
no issues,
even early Apollo flights got a ton of media attention, and as it became more routine, they got less and less coverage. So it is actually a good thing when the media is kind of checking out on this, because it's becoming safe and routine.
Improve the angle of attack like a charm. The vehicle as it entered the Earth's atmosphere. All of that flight dynamics computation worked like a charm.
So the next flight is for Artemis, Artemis 3. Currently, the Space Launch Systems components are all gathering at the Kennedy Space Center now, and they will start stacking that vehicle sometime in the next few months. The Space Launch System and Orion are, and the
standing by for the
European Service Module are not the bottlenecks. Or even the ICPS that's parked down at Kennedy Space Center. The actual crew launch vehicle is not the bottleneck, it is the lunar lander. So that's something we're all going to be monitoring very closely. Blue Origin is sending up their Blue Moon Mark 1 this year to the moon, which is going to be testing out many of the components that are going to be required for the human landing, but it is a smaller lander. We have not seen what their plans are going to be for an Artemis 4 landing, alternating fashion. 4 landing. They do have a Blue Moon Mark 2, which is much bigger than what is going to be flying on their test flight to the moon this year. But that is not going to be ready.
Medical exams. But Reed Wiseman has reported
what are they waiting for? They're still safing the vehicle. It's still venting propellant. This can take a little bit. Dragon does the same thing. They kind of park themselves outside of the capsule. So yes, Artemis 3 will have a lander, but it will not land. It is going to rendezvous with the lander in low Earth orbit, and the crew is going to transfer to the lander and undock from Orion and simulate, obviously not a landing, but simulate
splashdown of Integrity in the Pacific.
You know, rendezvous. They're going to be simulating as much as they can in a safe capacity in low Earth orbit. And for those of you familiar with the Apollo program, it's going to be like Apollo 9.
The parachutes all deployed as planned. Splashdown occurring at 7:07.
But this mission here was a combination of Apollos 7 and 8. If you were to look at the goals of Apollo 7 and 8, this mission did that. So it was like 2 Apollo missions in one. Artemis 2 is going to be a lot like Apollo 9, not quite Apollo 10, and then Artemis 3. Artemis 4 will be the Apollo 11,
the procedures for the powering down of the recovery team. We've handed over final ship authority to the exploration ground procedures folks for the powering down of the vehicle, and we've handed over mission authority to the exploration ground systems folks shortly out in the Pacific. The inflatable raft called the recovery team before opening the hatch to Integrity to erect the crew members onto that raft before they're hoisted. Before opening the hatch to Navy helicopters to bring the crew members for each helicopter raft before they're flown back to the deck of the USS John P. Murtha. Navy helicopters, 2 crew members for each helicopter before they're flown back to the deck of the USS John P. Murtha.
Airspeed says this is what can happen when we all join and work together. We all need to dump all the negativity and become Earthlings. I agree. For the Artemis 3 mission, once they have finished their testing out of the lunar lander, it will then rendezvous again back with Orion, and the crew will transfer back to Orion and come home. They will not be going to the moon on Artemis 3. It will be a completely low Earth orbit mission, and that lunar lander will be disposed of in the Earth's atmosphere. Likely.
Ansiosos aqui pro resgate, hein?
Are any other countries, good question here from
Uma bela imagem.
Kermit. Are any other countries going to do their own Artemis 2 and 3, or is it understood NASA's doing this testing for the whole world? The Chinese are very dedicated plans to land on the moon by about 2030. That's what they're going for. They've built their lunar lander. They're building their launch vehicle. They are very quickly
A China
developing that program.
Correndo atrás aí para pousar na Lua também, 2030, hein?
With the help of Russian technology that they've been licensing and their experts.
Caramba, tá demorando
We know the
mais o
crew's healthy.
resgate do que a entrada
At least
de volta à
Reed
atmosfera.
said that we had 4 green astronauts, which means that they were all okay. Thank you, Warhand, for your kind words. Am I a NASA worker or volunteer? No, I'm not affiliated with NASA. But I've been covering NASA through this channel for the last 8 years.
This is Mission Control Houston.
Why would NASA share all photos online for China to use? Because we are a free country.
This is Mission Control Houston. Splashdown time for you. After talking to the flight dynamics folks, we have a bit of a refinement 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time. Their computation 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time. 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time. 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time. That would equate to a mission elapsed time of 9 days, 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 15 seconds. That would equate to a mission elapsed time of 9 days, 1 hour, 32 minutes.
So it's a kind of
once again, from Flight Dynamics,
our tax dollars pay for this mission.
Splashdown time
This
of 7:07 and 27 seconds
It is not a national security endeavor, officially national security.
That would equate to a mission elapsed time of 9 days, 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 15 seconds.
We publish NASA researches and publishes its findings so that commercial industry and everyday Americans or people across the world can benefit from those those findings.
Indicate
the international scientific community shares information, shares resources. China has released some of their information from their lunar landers and their orbiters for international, for other nations to benefit from and to learn from. They have.
Before they move to
they're the only country to successfully land on the far side of the moon.
Life raft called the front support. Evaluation before they move to the side of the vehicle to erect the inflatable life raft called the front porch.
Dos gases, né?
American land of the free, amen. And the vehicle may be done venting at this point, but the fumes can still linger, especially if the air is still out there. So they're currently that one boat there. They're probably holding by hand a little tester, making sure the air is clean enough for us to approach it.
To the exploration ground systems folks in the Pacific.
Cancer friends.
But we will not. We have handed over mission authority to the exploration ground systems folks in the have the entry flight control team. But we will not until that stand down and inflatable raft have the entry flight control team depart the hatch open and the crew that having exited the vehicle. So that's the next step in the recovery process that will lead to the hoisting of the crew members.
So Artemis 3 was sent equipment to the moon.
Members for each helicopter.
Artemis 3 is purely low Earth orbit mission.
To a pair of Navy
Artemis 4
helicopters that will then fly a short distance
there. It's unlikely
back to the
things will be
USS
staged
John
there
P.
beforehand.
To a pair of Navy helicopters that will then fly a short distance. What you're looking at is one of the fast boats USS John P. the vehicle to make a hazard assessment. What you're looking at is one of the fast boats circling the vehicle to make a hazard assessment.
Será que agora vai, cara?
NASA has published their plans for beyond Artemis 4, future Artemis 5, 6, 7, etc. They will be they'll be landing components on the surface for a base. There will be a rover on Artemis, I believe it's Artemis 5, from Japan, supplied by the Japanese. As the administrator was talking about earlier, other European nations in particular are building modules for the moon base. They're currently trying to figure out how can they salvage some of the components from the Gateway plans, which was a space station, basically, that would orbit the moon. Administrator Isaac Min has led the way on dissolving those plans as of now and trying to repurpose some of those components for other missions or for a lunar base, or storing those modules that are currently being built for a potential space station one day, because that hardware could still be very usable. They're not going to just throw it away yet, at least. Alright, so as the commentator mentioned earlier, they are going to put on the front porch, basically a raft to attach to Orion, and Orion will be encircled with little floaties, so the crew can safely come out of Orion and then be airlifted. Is the outside of the vehicle still hot? No. It is not hot anymore. Kermit, how soon, if ever, do we expect people to live long-term?
This is Mission Control Houston.
On the moon,
once again, you're watching the initiation of the recovery of the Artemis crew. This is Mission Control Houston. Once again, you're watching all of the Navy divers and the fast boats are now approaching
normal people living on the moon,
after conducting a hazard assessment.
I don't know.
The vehicle has been powered down.
Find a way to make money
Entry Flight Director Rick Henfley now
using the
waiting
moon's resources and what you can do on the moon, but people will be staying on the lunar surface for long duration research purposes.
And the crew members
think of our early moon base as like the outposts we see down in
into a pair of Navy helicopters,
where scientists do live there pretty much all year round, doing very important science and research.
If you missed it earlier, we talked to flight dynamics,
but they are experts
received
training for those expeditions. So they don't stay there forever. They go there for
7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time, 5:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Pacific Time of 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time, 5:07 32 minutes and 27 seconds p.m. Pacific Time. That would equate to a mission elapsed time of 9 days, 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 15 seconds.
Caramba, daqui a pouco vai dar aí 50 minutos que estão esperando isso aí.
Do they use this capsule during the mission, or was it just for returning? This is the capsule that they lived in for the last 10 days. They launched in this capsule, they went around the moon in this capsule, and they came home in this capsule.
O pessoal ficou 10 dias aí dentro, hein?
How do you think Chinese space tech compares to NASA and ESA? For what they're designing, it's good. It's smaller. You know, when you look at Blue Moon or Starship, I mean, those vehicles are much larger, can carry more mass to the surface. You look at our Orion spacecraft, carries 4 astronauts for a long duration mission around the moon. I believe that the Chinese vehicle is 3. It's not bad, it's just different and smaller. Not to say they're not capable of more. They don't have the heritage that we do. When I say we Americans and Europeans for space flight, you know, the Americans have been going to the moon now for over, you know, for 60 plus years.
Como é que deve ser a estabilização da gravidade?
How much space is there in the capsule? It is the largest capsule design
peso,
that's
né?
flown ever. Any capsule design, it's the largest. It's bigger than Orion. I mean, it's bigger than Starliner, Dragon, Apollo, obviously. I believe there's like 3.5 cubic meters per person, if I remember that right. Don't quote me on that. It's much bigger, where like Apollo was like 2.7 or something, and this has a whole other person. You could technically fly Orion with a crew of 2, and you'd have a ton of room. Space Shuttle was the largest in terms of internal volume. It was just gigantic. It was like launching a space station every time. China already ground testing their lander, though. Yes, they are.
From the imagery assets out at sea in the Pacific. Continuing to get we continue to get good reports from the landing and support officer assets out at sea in the Pacific. Recovery team that the crew is in excellent shape. We continue to get good reports from the landing and support officer. Currently biding their time, with the recovery team. The crew is in excellent shape. We have no hazardous, currently biding their time. We have no hazard gases, waiting for the front port, no hazardous situation with the vehicle. We have no hazardous perfectly all the way down. We have no hazard gases to its splashdown in the Pacific at 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. all the way down from entry interface to its splashdown in the Pacific. And as you can see, the phalanx of recovery personnel
Gaz12 asks,
pulling up alongside.
Why are there no satellites around the moon?
Integrity.
There are satellites around the moon. There's lots of satellites around the moon. The Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter has been taking daily photos of the entire lunar surface for like 15 years. The Chinese have multiple satellites around the moon for a relay network, which is how they were able to put a lander on the far side of the moon, because they had a relay satellite on the far side that was able to essentially beam their signal around the moon via other satellites. I believe South Korea has put up satellites, India, Israel, United States, obviously. So there are satellites around the moon, and there's even more that are orbiting around the moon that are no longer functional, because nothing's forever, really.
At this
Unless
hour,
you're Voyager. Voyager, that
41
thing
minutes
just
following splashdown.
keeps going.
The vehicle has been powered down. There's no hazardous gas. Emits some 41 minutes following splashdown. The vehicle has been powered down. There's no hazardous gas emanating from the vehicle. That's why. And the reports continue to come in that the 4 astronauts are in excellent shape. Has been able to pull alongside Integrity. And the reports continue to come in that the 4 astronauts are in excellent shape.
Why was the video quality not always that good? A_TSP asks. Internet, man. I mean, they're sending internet 250,000 miles away, and based off of which direction the capsule was in, it may not have had the antenna may not have had the ideal direction to send a signal back to Earth. If we were tracking the telemetry on the mission, we would have anywhere from 1 to 10 megabit per second back to the Deep Space Network, which was the primary way using S-band radio, which is the primary way Orion still communicates back to Earth. But they did test on this mission optical data, which was giving them a 200 megabit pipe back to Earth, which is huge, obviously, and they were able to use that for large data dumps. They were able to send back, I think, 270 gigs of data using the optical comms. So it's just like your Wi-Fi, you know. But think of it like rather than you go 250,000 miles away, some brick walls got in the way, right? And the encoders adapt. They're checking how much pipe there is, and then they're compressing the image so that it can still get sent through. Where did I get a list of the milestones? I could not find anything detailed on NASA's website. I got milestones from 2 places. One, the Canadian Space Agency. They published a JSON file of the milestones, and there were way more there than what NASA published. And then NASA literally published just a PDF of
this is
the
Mission Control
milestones
Houston,
for the
continuing
mission,
to watch
and I had to manually
initiation of the recovery
them
of
into this
Integrity's
database,
astronauts.
in which there were
one by one they'll be brought out of the spacecraft onto a large
a combination
inflatable
of those
raft.
two resources
Just
were
a
how
short
I was
time
able
from
to
now.
get
In the
pretty
meantime,
good
we can go back to the USS John P. Murtha, where my colleague
idea of what it was, and for the most part it was pretty accurate.
her
I mean, I venture to say at least 3/4 of the
Megan, can you
time,
hear us?
the milestones that we had listed on this dashboard were accurate, so I was thankful for that. Dego, so
Rob,
in
yes,
Artemis
I can hear
4,
you. Thank
they will
you.
be
Yeah, we're back
docking with
here
a
on the
shuttle
bow
from SpaceX
of the
or Blue
recovery
Moon.
ship where
Okay, so they will be
there's still
docking with
plenty
a
of
lunar
people
lander, not a shuttle. They
peering
will be
out into
docking
the
with a
water.
lunar
We're not
lander
very
from, yes,
far
either
from the action
SpaceX
everyone is seeing
or
on their
Blue
screen now.
Origin. Blue
The
Moon
Orion
is their
spacecraft
lander.
Integrity in the ocean, surrounded by a
Kind of
number of
interesting,
recovery
right?
boats. The Orion spacecraft Integrity in the ocean, surrounded by a number of recovery boats. In those recovery boats, NASA and Navy personnel specifically trained
Kermit, do these astronauts get paid pretty good? I can't imagine going back to a regular life after. You can look that up. They're on the GS scale because they're government employees. I want to say the high end is like 140, 150. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but that's around that. But, you know, astronauts, they're doing a public service. You know, yeah, they should be paid well. These are people with
out in the water right now on those
very
boats.
advanced degrees, tons of training, putting their lives at risk. Like, you think about what they're making salary-wise, like, is that enough? Shouldn't they be making more? But they're federal employees. Many astronauts go on that have very fruitful careers after their NASA experience, where they can kind of cash in on that experience to be an astronaut. You don't go into being an astronaut to become rich immediately.
Será que agora vai?
Smotra Play asks, may be build base on the moon, Russia, US, China, Canada. What your think about this? My think is yes, but it's not going to happen. We do not, as a foreign policy, work with China in space.
Here referred to as a stab collar. Basically just
China
make sure
even
that
picked a
Orion stays
orbit
upright,
for their
doesn't sway in the
space
water
station
too
that
much,
Russia
again,
would
to
never
make
be
it
able to get
easier
to.
for
Well, you can only
recovery
get
forces
there.
to get the astronauts out.
You can't get there from where they're launched, where they launch from, essentially. We have tried to get Russia to cooperate, but it's been a tense many years. It's still a little surprising that we send Americans on Soyuz and Russians on Dragon, but it's one of the few peaceful international partnerships we have with Russia.
Be able to get the crew out of Orion here within 2 hours of splashdown by NASA to be able to get the crew out of Orion within 2 hours of splashdown. You know, I was speaking
due to the war that Russia's in right now,
earlier in this broadcast,
and their state-of-the-art economy and their space agency, they might be a little bit of a liability to work with in the short term. But there's a lot of brilliant people.
And whenever they're ready to get the crew out of Orion, want to make sure and onto that large raft, the front porch, folks will be ready.
There's a lot of brilliant engineers and scientists and human beings and kind people in Russia and in China. I obviously would love for us to have international partnerships with them and be able to do something big and beautiful on the moon, but there's other things that we solve for first. But sometimes space can be a very good negotiating tactic.
And as there are mission audio loops in mission control in Houston, there is a mission audio loop.
And yes,
here
Russia
on the
does is half of the International Space Station.
The side hatch is
just
open.
about.
Houston, there is a mission audio loop side here on the ship. Integrity is open. And it was just reported out that the side hatch is open.
There it is.
You're getting these beautiful side shots hatch of from our aerial assets. The ship itself, where I'm on, just 3,000 yards away. You're getting these beautiful shots from our aerial assets. The ship itself, where I'm on, just 3,000 yards away. Glued to the side, closest to where they can see all this action, and again, with just 3,000 yards separating us. Great views. Glued to the side, closest to where they can see all this action, and again, with just 3,000 yards separating us. Hatch is open. Great views from the bow here. One of the Navy personnel is about to get inside there. Side hatch is open. One of the Navy personnel is about to get inside there. In they go. In total, 4 will go into Orion. So it'll be a little bit of a tight squeeze, but in they go.
Kermit, I won't repeat the question in the stream, but the answer is yes.
So it'll be a little bit of a tight squeeze, but with each astronaut assessing them. The goal is to have a recovery personnel with each astronaut assessing them.
Yeah, getting video footage from these fast boats is going to be pretty hard. They're bobbing in the water. It's not impossible. It's just it requires quite a long-range network, but they could, or using Starlink out there. They
Boats
certainly
getting
could.
closer now.
We will see what the Navy has in store
Again,
for
that
us.
one that's right up against Orion. Those are the boats getting closer now to the spacecraft to check on each of the astronauts. That one that's right up against Orion. These other boats are the divers that will go in, putting on that
so Christina and Victor will come out first.
That front porch. Eventually, they will retrieve the parachutes, as well as tow Orion back to the well deck.
Derrubado, cambaleando daí.
And then Jeremy and Reed will come out last, as they are the furthest from the hatch.
And so as we wait for the Navy
What's
and
different
NASA
in the orientation of Orion versus Apollo? Apollo, the hatch was above the astronauts.
Why don't we toss it back to Rob for an update?
Orion, the hatch is to the side.
Yeah, thank you, Megan. Here in Mission Control, Flight Director Rick Henfling and the entry team of flight controllers still on duty.
Yeah, Christina is on the lower part.
The vehicle has been powered down for some time now. There are no hazardous gases emanating from integrity. That, of course, the vehicle has been powered down for some time now to approach the vehicle. There are no hazardous gases emanating from integrity. That, of course, initial medical assessment of the recovery personnel to approach the vehicle. Now we're standing by for the direction of the inflatable initial medical assessment of the crew, as you just indicated. Alongside of the vehicle. Now we're standing by that will enable the crew to be extracted one by one onto the raft, have a moment or two to get their land legs back.
Sponsor play, I am so very happy that you were able to watch this stream with your friends in St. Petersburg.
2 crew members for each
helicopter. All of you who enjoyed this mission.
The USS John P. Murtha.
Why don't we have any video from inside the capsule? Bandwidth.
All of Integrity's systems operated
also privacy. I mean, if
course of the approach
don't go so
to
well
the Earth,
there, they don't want to
the entry into the Earth's atmosphere and all of the key milestones that followed in this high-speed return to Earth for Integrity.
For you bobbing around
a mission
in a capsule in the middle
more
of the
than
ocean
694,000 miles high-speed return to launch from the Kennedy Space Center. A mission that spanned more than 694,000 miles from the vehicle's launch from the Kennedy Space Center atop the Space Launch System back on April 1st.
So it took them a while. Most of the reason why they haven't taken the crew out yet was because they had to safe the vehicle. They had to vent out the hypergolic propellant out of the vehicle, or else the people who are helping them right now would all be poisoned. So now that the vehicle is safe and it's completely vented, and the crew does do some work inside to safe it, you know, they put their helmets just to the side and things of that nature. Actually, they may keep their helmets on. I'm thinking about it. I know I watched this footage of this training. They've done a lot of it, but I can't recall if they come out with their helmets on. Thank you all for your nice comments. I'm so happy that you and your friends and family were able to watch this stream with all of us. This chat was really amazing. Like, for the 10 days of this mission, I mean, I was really impressed with how knowledgeable everybody was, how passionate everybody was. I saw countless messages of people talking about how the Artemis II mission had reinvigorated their passion for the mission.
That the Apollo as we mentioned, program for spaceflight down in the Pacific was Apollo 17 back on December 19th, 1972. That the Apollo program for the first time splash down in the Pacific was Apollo 17 back on December 19th, 1972. We have reenacted that with the arrival of Integrity's astronauts 54, some 53 and a half around years. The moon. In that we historic lunar flyby with the arrival of Integrity's that began with a trans-lunar injection burn that took them out of lunar flyby orbit following 24 hours.
So you can see them now. They're attaching that front porch. They wrap the whole vehicle in like a big old
flight
floaty.
Controllers here to have a full 24 hours to evaluate the systems on Integrity.
But if in case you couldn't tell already with NASA, they do not mess around with safety. Hurt, lost astronauts is very bad for your program. You cannot take any chances, so they go the extra mile to make sure that their people are safe. Smotra Play, I hope you will have more streams during the next Artemis missions. Yes, of course I will. You're amazing. Thank you. Yes, this was a tremendous effort, and I have plans for for future Artemis missions to do this even bigger and better. And this stream is not going anywhere. This stream is going to stay up. I have a dashboard I've been building over the last couple days for the International Space Station. Is it as sexy as going to the moon? No, it's not. But this stream showed me that there are people who really do value this kind of insight and display of data. So I have my first version of an International Space Station dashboard that will be taking this stream over once the crew is safe and sound, that I will share with you all here in a little bit. It's not perfect, but it's the best I've seen. So hopefully you all enjoy it and can learn more about the work that we do on the International Space Station. But as Artemis ramps up and all these other programs, I plan to do more streams. That's what I feel like is what I can offer here, because there's other very good YouTubers who do live streams. I've been on some of the other bigger channels and done commentary and whatnot, but a lot of people can do that. I want to find ways to offer something unique and different to you all that you find helpful and educational, and help you very quickly understand what's going on in the mission. Because if you just see a bunch of numbers, it doesn't always mean something to you, to most people. Any chance next time we can have kilometers also? Yeah, I know I did meters per second. I would be happy to accommodate that. And I wouldn't be a YouTuber if I did not ask you, if you're here, please subscribe. Would love to have you around. I make regular videos, live stream.
Caramba! Cadê o pessoal saindo daí, gente?
With the side hatch of Orion having been opened to set the stage for the erection of the inflatable life raft known as the front porch, to be erected alongside the spacecraft for the extraction of the crew. Let's play for you an interview that my colleague Megan Cruz conducted on the USS John P. Murtha with Navy diver First Class David McMahon that explains how this process is unfolding.
Okay, Davey, so you and some of your team, one last look over of the stabilization collar, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what is this stabilization collar?
This is what's going to stabilize the capsule out there in the ocean. We don't know how good the weather or the waves will be that day, so this will help prevent any unnecessary occurrences from happening.
Transmitir, tomar uma aguinha aí, viu?
Capsule and the astronauts inside.
So basically this is a float that will go around Orion. I'm assuming that what they're doing right now, these are the lines that will attach the collar onto Orion?
That is correct.
And so what are they doing here?
So we've got the lower line that will secure the inflation device before we inflate it. That gives us the go-ahead that it's secure in its space, and then we'll inflate it, and then once that is done, we'll undo all the carabiners and get this orange line on top tied in the same fashion, and then this will be secured to the capsule, and the astronauts can safely take their first steps out of the capsule onto the front porch.
Okay, and how long will it take them to set up the stabilization collar?
We should definitely be able to handle this in under 10 minutes.
Okay, wow. And then you just mentioned the front porch. So basically after they set up the stabilization collar, then they set up what's called the front porch here.
That's correct.
Okay, and what's the front porch?
Front porch is basically a bigger waiting room for the astronauts to sit in while we wait for the helicopters to show up and grab them.
Okay, so the medical team that was inside with the crew, they're going to help them out and onto the front porch?
That is correct.
And then what happens here?
We have higher trained medical personnel also on board the front porch that will give them lookovers and just make sure they're okay while we wait for the helicopters to show up.
Okay. How does it feel, I mean, your team, you, to be part of a mission that's returning astronauts from the moon in more than 50 years?
We all feel extremely honored to be a part of this, as well as a bigger mission for the Navy and joining up with NASA to do great things.
And do you feel like you and your team are ready?
Yes, very ready.
Cool. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Once again, the recovery operations are continuing out in the Pacific. We shortly should see that life raft, the front porch, erected alongside the side hatch of the vehicle. A number of flight controllers have come into the flight control room to receive congratulations from Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling, but we're going to stick with our operations out in the Pacific as we await the extraction of the 4 crew members who are reported to be in excellent condition. Again, while we stand by for that front porch to be erected alongside of the side hatch of the vehicle, let's go back to the USS John P. Murtha and Megan Cruz. Megan?
Hey, Rob. Pausing now to listen to some internal audio loops. Again, the operations team here on the ship communicating with everyone out on the water. Seems like currents are hindering them a little bit from unfurling and inflating the stabilization collar as well as the front porch. But again, the requirement to get the crew out within 2 hours of splashdown, plenty of time. So no concerns just yet. But as calm as the water looks, yeah, it looks like it's hindering the teams just a tad. You can see in some of our shots that side hatch still open. Again, inside there are now 8 people inside.
Tem 8 pessoas lá dentro, hein?
4 divers, Navy divers, all with medical training, each assigned to an astronaut each.
Todos os mergulhadores aí, com conhecimentos médicos, né,
making
bem
sure
treinados.
That they're comfortable, feeling good. As you've heard us say in the broadcast, you know, they expect a little bit of discomfort. Again, these astronauts just traveled back to Earth at 25,000 miles an hour, a nearly 695,000 mile journey around the moon.
Deve ter entrado derrubado, né, cara? Porque não é fácil, não. Essa velocidade de reentrada, todo esse tempo aí.
Again, 6 boats out there, lots of gear with them, just in case, right? As we said, the crew reported feeling great, but again, all those folks out there in case they weren't, right? NASA is all about making sure we think about every situation that can happen, and so of course wanted to be ready in case any of our astronauts needed more medical attention while out there in the water.
Imaginou, cara, como é que os caras voltam mesmo? Saia bonitinho, não sei não.
You see now teams again trying to set up the stabilization collar and front porch for the crew to get out of Orion. They need both, right? The stabilization collar will keep Orion from swaying as you see it is doing now. And then they will connect to the front porch to the stabilization collar so that the crew can take 2 steps and they will be in the front porch. Chatter on the mission audio loops, that's a good thing. Again, things proceeding pretty nominally, even if they're fighting some
currents. Essa já vai ser a live mais longa que nós fizemos. Se você chegou até aqui, meu amigo, fala, eu sou um guerreiro. Comenta aí, eu sou um guerreiro.
So that the crew can rest comfortably in the front porch, get placed into harnesses so that 2 helicopters can lift them off the front porch and onto the USS John Murtha here. The helicopters are going to take turns picking up an astronaut. So again, Helo 1 and Helo 2. Okay, and the recovery team here on the ship just got a report from the undersea medical officer who is inside the capsule with the crew. He is reporting all 4 members are green. All of our 4 astronauts, Reed, Victor, Christina, Jeremy, green, meaning they are feeling great, not the complexion of their skin. They are feeling great, happy to be home, and ready to be extracted as soon as possible. And so, as I was saying, we have 2 helicopters circling the activity you're seeing on the water right now. Each will take turns picking up an astronaut. So Helo 1 will come on in, hover above the front porch, about 40 feet above the front porch. A Navy recovery specialist will be hoisted down into the front porch.
The restricted maneuvering doctrine is in effect.
Will connect to the first astronaut, which we're expecting to be Christina. And then Helo 2 comes around, picks up Jeremy, while Helo 1 stays above head. And then Helo 1 will come back in for another astronaut, and then Helo 2 for the last astronaut, and then back to the flight deck here on the recovery ship. I was talking to Assistant Artemis Recovery Director Paul Sierpinski. He said helos are a much quicker, safer way to get on board. They did actually consider boats, but then if you think about it, longer time, the crew would have to move through more of the ship. This way the helo the helos will give a more direct, quicker route to the medical bay for our 4 astronauts. Beautiful shots from our aerial and imagery teams. Clouds have dissipated for a clear view from the bow of the recovery ship here.
Meus amigos, a gente esperando aqui, ó. E quanta gente transmitindo ao vivo, hein?
You can still see divers in the water there. Encircling Orion, that is that stabilization collar we've been telling you about. As you saw in that interview just a few minutes ago, they have to first connect it to Orion, and then once it's secured onto Orion, they can inflate it, and then they'll further secure it with other harnesses and lines. About an hour and 10 minutes since splashdown in the Pacific Ocean here.
1 hora e 10 minutos desde que caiu na água, hein? Porra, mano!
Christina and Jeremy back home after a history-making mission to the moon and back.
Cara, amanhã tô doido pra ver as entrevistas dos pessoal aí, hein? Depoimento. Pô, fantástico.
And if you missed what we said just a couple of minutes ago, the undersea medical officer inside with the crew in Orion reporting all 4 crew members feeling great. Progress being made there on the stabilization collar. It looks like they are beginning to inflate it. And it looks like they're starting to unfold the front porch in order to get that into the water here shortly and inflate that as well. Again, more than 40 people out in the water right now. And those Navy and NASA personnel have been in the water for now about 4 hours.
Estamos aqui ao vivo, gente. O resgate da cápsula Orion caiu no mar há 1 hora e 10 minutos atrás. Falta o resgate dos astronautas, né?
The reason why they had to get out so early is just to stage everything.
Parece que estão inflando ele já. O anel de estabilização.
When there are flight operations happening, you can't have anything else, right? Just because the flight deck can be a dangerous place, so they just want to focus on planes coming and going from the ship, so that's why they wanted to get the boats in the water to make sure that they have all the time they needed for the flight ops. And then the same crew here out in the water, they will stay out in the water for a number of hours after we recover the crew and get them back on the ship, because then they have to recover Orion. All right, that stabilization collar looking good around Orion. We're now seeing some recovery personnel getting on to that collar. Again, they need to further attach it to Orion to make sure that it can really prop up the spacecraft. It's basically lifting it up off of the water just a tad. Again, so it's not so so it doesn't sway so much in the water there.
Aí aquela rampa onde eles vão resgatar os astronautas.
And now that front porch looks like it's nearly fully inflated as well. You can see a much larger surface area. And so once the crew get out of Orion, they can stretch their legs a little bit on this front porch, get some fresh air. And enjoy this beautiful day here.
Preparando, agora vai, hein?
It appears teams now are about to connect the front porch to the stabilization collar. And at that point, when both are secure, we should soon see astronauts come out of Orion. These views you see also being fed to the Landing Force Operations Center here on the ship. Of course, it is very important for our recovery teams leading the mission to have all the views that you're seeing as well. Again, listening to their communication loop here on the ship. Very quiet, which is a good thing. It means things are going pretty nominally, meaning as expected.
Meus amigos, essa live tá para mais de 2 horas já. Ui, ui, ui. Nós queremos ver os 4 astronautas sair daí.
Again, all this activity happening just 3,000 yards away from the ship. So that means this will be a very quick flight back on the helicopters for the crew. 2-3 minutes, and then they'll be back here on the ship.
I know.
Okay, saw a thumbs up from one of the personnel on the front porch. It looks like they are now getting ready to deploy what they call the Air Rescue Vest, ARV. And so this is the harness that each crew member will get into in order to be hoisted into the helicopters. Again, those helicopters hovering just about 40 feet above the front porch when they're ready to pick up each crew member.
expectativa.
This is Mission Control Houston. Behind me, a fairly raucous scene as hundreds of flight controllers have poured into the flight control room here. This is reminiscent of the scene after the final shuttle mission of STS-135, although that was the end of a program. This is only the beginning of a program with the textbook splashdown of Integrity and its 4 astronauts. We're standing by for the crew to be extracted from the spacecraft. Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling invited all of these flight controllers who have contributed to this mission to enter the flight control room, to have an opportunity to receive well wishes and to share the mutual glow that exists in the wake of a textbook mission for Integrity. On the front screen here in Mission Control, a sign that says "Welcome Home Integrity," taking humanity back to the moon, going further, and returning safely to Earth. So all of that jubilation, part of the post-splashdown activities, even as we await the crew being extracted from the vehicle to be hoisted onto Navy helicopters for the trip back to the USS John P. Murtha.
Essa tá uma cobertura longa.
Once again here in Mission Control, this view of the Artemis Flight Control Room, known as the White Flight Control Room. This is the old shuttle flight control room, and now is the home of Artemis missions to the moon and beyond. Once again, quite a few flight controllers were invited in by Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling to share in the jubilation following the successful splashdown of Integrity. That splashdown occurring an hour and 22 minutes ago, as we stand by for the completion of the extraction of the crew, and ultimately they're hoisting onto Navy helicopters for a short flight back to the USS John P. Murtha. Splashdown occurred at 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time. I had an opportunity to talk to the head of Flight Dynamics, Jeff Birch, a moment or two ago. He said the trajectory of Integrity coming through the Earth's atmosphere was so precise, they've never seen anything line up on a ground track like today's entry by Integrity for its splashdown southwest of San Diego. And the initial, you can hear it.
A primeira pessoa saiu. O helicóptero estava na contraluz, né?
jubilation here in the flight control room. The first crew member is out of integrity. We are expecting the other crew members momentarily to be extracted.
Quem tá vindo aí? Mais um.
We now have 2 crew members out.
Cara, deve ser terrível a recuperação, né? Então eles vão pro navio hospital aí. E amanhã começa a bateria aí de reportagem.
2 crew members out, 2 to go. We're about 1 hour from sunset out in the Pacific. Everything continues to go well. Integrity's systems function perfectly during its entry back to Earth. And Reed Wiseman, the commander, who will be last out of the vehicle, reported that all the crew members were feeling very well.
Já vem o terceiro.
Crew member number 3 now out. And now standing by for the commander, Reed Wiseman, who will be last out of his ship.
O Reed Wiseman
Bobbing
vai
in the
ser o último a
Pacific
sair,
under
hein?
almost ideal conditions. Integrity spanned 694,000 miles during its journey from launch to splashdown.
E agora espera pelo comandante Wiseman.
And we now have Reed Wiseman out of the vehicle, all 4 crew members now out of integrity.
Saiu aí o comandante.
Once again, all 4 crew members now on the front porch, and the procedure to begin hoisting them up to these 2 Navy helicopters hovering overhead will begin shortly.
Vão ser transferidos aí para um helicóptero que vai levá-los até o navio. Galera toda feliz aí, né? Sem eles nada seria possível também. Bom, pessoal, a gente vai ficando por aqui. Acompanhar aí o desenrolar e como vai ficar aí a entrevista. Muito chão pela frente, né? É só o início da missão, né? Aí os 4 sentados aí. Vai ser desacoplado aí provavelmente essa rampa. Esse bote, né? Deve ser grande para chuchu. E esta foi uma cobertura gigantesca, meu amigo, pelo amor de Deus, hein? Todo mundo bem? Nós vamos ficando por aqui. Agradeço você que assistiu até agora. Assista depois ao vivo, depois que terminou. Tudo é um teste, não é verdade? Um abraço, gente. Até.
O foco total é a informação. Análise e debate definem o nosso trabalho. Diretrizes claras para o entendimento. Este é o seu ponto crítico. Este é o seu ponto crítico.